We've all seen the headlines of celebrities embroiled in college admissions scandals. Now some parents have been caught giving up custody of their kids to cash in on financial aid. Check it out. In the Chicago area, families have found a suspicious new way to get money for their kids' education. Parents are handing over legal guardianship to trusted friends or relatives in order to qualify for much more money from financial aid. The student may then qualify for more financial aid since their parents' income and assets are no longer considered. So is this just a case of families doing what's best for their kids, or is it a selfish move that's taking funds away from families who need them the most? Financial aid policy analyst Desjean joins us on Skype to discuss this, because when I heard of this, I was a little bit baffled. And my first thought is, how are parents getting away with this? How is this happening?
Well, simply put, I think financial aid administrators didn't know to question this because they hadn't seen it misused before. Speaking personally from my past experience in financial aid offices, people in guardianships always seem to be in them for legitimate reasons. Because a guardianship is granted by the courts, I personally always assumed that it was a long, drawn-out process that required a lot of documentation. So I personally, and I think a lot of financial aid administrators, were shocked to see how simple the process was to transfer legal guardianship, at least in the state of Illinois.
So Jill, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of these are middle-class people, right, who are sort of squeezed, where they make too much money to qualify otherwise for need-based financial aid, but they don't have the ability to just write a check for $50,000+ a year of tuition, correct?
Exactly. From the news reports we've seen, these are middle-income and upper-middle-income families. They were able to pay a consultant to help them navigate this process. And my understanding from some of the news reports was even that families said in the application to transfer guardianship that the reason that they were doing it was simply to get more financial aid. So it wasn't some unfortunate circumstance where a parent was incarcerated or maybe battling a chronic illness or something like that, where they simply couldn't take care of their kids. These were families who were able to care for their kids, but wanted to transfer the custody simply for the purpose of getting financial aid.
How much on the order are they getting then in financial aid? How much would this save their family potentially per year for a child in college?
The savings could be significant. The maximum federal Pell Grant is over $6,000 a year, and the maximum state grant in Illinois, which is where these cases seem to be concentrated, is $5,000 a year, a little more than that. So these families could feasibly get over $11,000 just from federal and state funds, and that's not even factoring in institutional grants. There was one family in the news, one of the families who took advantage of this process, who chose to remain anonymous, but noted that they made over $250,000 in family income and said that they got $20,000 in 1 year in total financial aid. So spread that over 4 years, it's $80,000. That's pretty much getting a free year of college out of this.
And Jill, as it stands now, I mean, this is perfectly legal and people can do this, right?
So yes, they did enter into the guardianships legally, and they did answer the question on the financial aid application that they were in guardianships correctly. I do wonder about some of the other questions on the financial aid application that they would have had to answer. Families need to report, or students need to report, the amount of untaxed income they receive, any cash support that they get either directly or paid on their behalf. And it seems as though if these families are getting these sums of financial aid, that they probably were not reporting the difference in the tuition payments that the students' parents were paying, their rent, pizza and beer money, whatever it might be. So if these students were correctly reporting the cash support their parents were giving them, they likely wouldn't have qualified for this financial aid. So they might be misrepresenting themselves.